Alright, Shalom. Before I begin, I'd like to start out by giving all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elder bishops, and the elders of the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect that be in the house of David. Alright, today is March the 1st. No, today is March the 2nd, forgive me. Alright, year 2026. Alright, the year of the apostate, the year of the sellout, the year of the agent, the year of Jacob's trouble. Alright, and you know, we see what's going down right about now. Alright, as it's been going down since the weekend. Alright, you know, the Iranians and the Israelis, alright, and the Americans are all, you know, pretty much firing off missiles at each other. Alright, you know, America is joined on to Israel. Alright, the Israelis, you know, and Iran has the backing of Russia and China. Alright, Ezekiel, what's that, 38? You know, where it tells you about how Gog is going to be a defense to these other nations. Alright, because Russia has an invested interest in Iran, as does China. So ultimately, we're getting to the point of the movie where all these nations are getting ready to come against the whore, which is America, and make war with her. Alright, the first scripture I got is right here on the screen, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Alright, because the Charagma isn't been put on the scene yet. Alright, you know, we seeing what's going down, and it's exciting. Alright, it's definitely exciting, you know what I'm saying, to be in this part of the movie and to, you know, be seeing the things that, you know, our apostles, the elder bishops and the elders, you know, and ourselves have been prophesying about, you know, coming to fruition. You know, it's a very exciting thing, but it's not the end all be all just yet. All right, the true full swing of World War III can't take off until the Charagma is put on the scene. All right, the Charagma being the microchip. All right, which is the mark of the beast. All right, so right now it's just, you know, rumors of wars, and you know, we seeing it go down. All right, and this actual thing is taking place, but before Yahweh Shai can make his grand re-entries back, all right, the Charagma is gonna have to be on the scene, you know. All right, y'all forgive me. So you know, we're gonna stay in this same book, jump around a little bit. This is written in red, so you know, this is Yahweh Shai speaking. All right, go to verse 7. It say, "For a nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places." All right, because the earth is, you know, getting ready for Yahweh Shai to return. You know, and that before that happens, all right, you know, you're gonna have famines. All right, you're gonna have the famine of the word, which is when the Lord pulls the prophets off of the streets. But you're also gonna have food shortages. All right, the scriptures go into how it's gonna get so bad out here. The only people that's gonna be eating for the most part is the elect. All right, you know, the Lord said, "My people shall eat." Let me find that right quick. What is that? Damn, it's in Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 65. All right, Isaiah 65, and jumping down to verse 13. It says, "Therefore thus saith the Lord parable, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed." All right, and that's the time we're coming into, and that's literal. All right, you know, the men of the Lord are going to eat. Those that believe on the men of the Lord are going to eat, all right, and drink, all right, and be in a rejoiceful spirit. But this is what's to those who aren't going to be in that stead. All right, Isaiah 65 and 14, it says, "Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit." All right, so that's what's coming to 2/3 of the Lord people that reside over here in America, as well as a lot of you heathen, because the Lord, is only, you know, dealing with the house of David on this side. All right, and a lot of these people have stored up goods, and you know, they've done all that, and they're not gonna get to use those things. All right, those things are going for the men of the Lord. All right, the Lord is gonna use you people to gather it up, and then he's going to lead his men to those things. All right. You know, and then you got earthquakes. You know, we hear about earthquakes taking place all over the earth. All right, this famine's already taking place all over the earth. This pestilence already going down. I mean, you know, verse 8, it say, all these are the beginning of sorrows. All right, verse 9, then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And that's where we coming into now. All right, family members, all right, friends, all right, associates, you know, the persecution phase of this truth is coming, all right, and when that comes, all right, we're gonna find out who really is really down for this thing and who's not, because a lot of people ain't ready to be turned on by their family members and by society in itself, all right, because in the days that we're coming into, it's gonna be you know, they're gonna label the men of the Lord as domestic tease, all right, you know, and it's gonna be bounties on brothers' heads, all right, you know. People gonna be trying to give you up to Esau, right, for that you know, that reward. You know, it say verse 10, it say, and then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. All right, that's what makes this truth beautiful though, because if you really are into this thing the way you're supposed to be, your mind is already preparing for these days to come. Your mind has already been there, all right, because the Lord already put the separation between, all right, the house of David and the house of Saul, all right, even like right now. All right, our family members and shit, yeah, they are relatives, but we got a good inkling that which ones got a lower probability of getting out of this thing, all right? Because we told it to them, we've brought this thing up to them, and they've either fanned the hand or they just full out scoffed or they just you know, disregarded it. So when the judgment comes, you know what I'm saying, expect them same individuals to sell you out. All right. Verse 11, it say, and many false prophets shall rise and deceive many. All right. And you see what's going down with these other camps out here, all right? The IUIC, all right, you know, the ISUPK, all right, and all these other, you know what I'm saying, Israelite camps out here, they ain't got the 100% truth. They not telling you or preparing you for the things that's coming. All right, because they took the bag, all right, for the most part. You know, they didn't got paid off and bought off, you know, so got them false prophets out here, all right. Then you got Esau's false prophet, you know what I'm saying, the Roman Catholic Church, and Esau himself, you know, he's a false prophet on the left-hand side. Verse 12, and it say, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. All right, it's gonna be a cold spirit out here, all right? What's you know, they had that thing that went down in Austin. What was that, a couple of days ago? All right, where they didn't have this dark complected man, all right, go down 6th Street, all right, wicked 6th Street, all right, and slaughter some Edomites, all right, and you know, they got his face up on the news and all that shit, so you know, Esau's already getting laying the tracks for his persecution on the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, he's already getting that snare ready. All right, putting black faces up. All right, as you know, domestic tease. All right, and threats to you ease. So Esau getting in that mode. All right. All right, and then we got the Passover coming up, you know what I'm saying, next month on the 1st. So, you know, it's a very, very spiritual time, as well as a very, very demonic time, all right, because Esau's laying enchantments left and right out here, all right. Verse 13, Matthew 24:13, but he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. All right, and we got to endure this thing, all right? You know, everything that's to come, you know, it's going to get uncomfortable. It's going to get rocky. Going to see a lot of death, as the scriptures say, through great tribulation shall thou inherit the kingdom. All right, so it's going to be a rocky, tumultuous time. All right, but the men of the Lord are going to hold firm and hold tight to what Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has given them, because that's, you know, ultimately our card of exemption. all right, from these oncoming judgments that the Lord is bringing. All right. So let me see. As the scripture say in Isaiah 33 and verse 6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time and the strength of thy salvation. So like if I butchered it. All right. Back in Matthew 24 in verse 14, it says, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. All right. And that's pretty much didn't happen. All right, the internet did the majority of the heavy lifting. All right, once the apostles hit the internet, hit the YouTube in 2007, all right, all the way up to where we at with it now. What's that? We in 2026, and they hit it in 2007. It was 19 years or so. This summer will make 19 years. All right, and look at how many, you know what I'm saying, newcomers, new believers have come into this thing. All right, speckled birds, all right, all of that, you know, because the gospel had to go throughout the four corners of the earth, because you got an innumerable multitude scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, of the elect as well. So this gospel is went throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, it's just the biggest bulk of Israel is over here in Babylon the Great, America. All right, where the greatest destruction of mankind is going to take place. All right, America, as well as the land of Israel, all right, are going to be hit with nuclear missiles. All right, they're going to be obliterated and destroyed. And 2 out of 3 of the Lord's people that reside over here in America are going to be left here to go through that judgment. All right, 1/3 is going to get beamed up. The innumerable multitude of the house of David around the world are going to get beamed up. All right. But this had to go throughout the nation, because these other nations on the earth, they had to know who they were too. All right, everybody had to be, all right, put up on game by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know what I'm saying? And they used in the men of the Lord, all right? It's the mouthpiece of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we right here at that part of the movie. All right, to where, you know, it's finna get real uncomfortable out here. Isaiah 33 and verse 6 is what I quoted a while ago. It's saying, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is his treasure. All right. So who's out here moving in the fear of the Lord? All right. Only the hopeful elect. All right. Who's out here putting their hope and trust in the Lord? Only the hopeful elect. All right. These things that's going down today, like today, speaking on some personal shit, I was at my crib. All right. I went outside. And my brother and my cousin and my niece were out there. They was out there, you know what I'm saying, having a nigga moment. They following it up and shit. All right, my little nephew was out there too. All right, and they just talking and shit, you know, about a bunch of nothing. All right, these niggas ain't even mentioned, all right, what's going down in the world as far as World War III is concerned. All right, these niggas' minds is far from the oncoming events that's gonna shake their lives up. All right, they have no fucking clue about what's coming. All right, one of my other partners, all right, you know what I'm saying, the dude that cut my hair and shit, I was chopping it up with him. All right, you know, he knows a little bit about a little bit there, but that's because that nigga been around me. He didn't hear me say some little shit, so, you know, his antennas go up, and he, you know, he try to judge shit for what it is, but he ain't got the light neither. All right, he ain't got the juice neither. All right, it's like these niggas is just in utter darkness out here, and that's where the Lord want them. All right, the Lord don't want these niggas to come to him, all right, because, you know, again, personal shit, I didn't know this nigga for years, all right, so I can speak to the nigga on a nigga's level, but the Lord got the angels out here blocking them niggas to where it's nothing that we could say, all right, to pull these niggas out of that dark state. All right, this is Psalm 69. It's King David. Starting at verse 22, it say, let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. All right, and you gotta be, that's another thing, all right, with the persecution coming, you gotta be careful. Like, right about now, I mean, I wouldn't advise nobody to just be, you know what I'm saying, talking about the truth with your relatives and close friends and all that shit. That time then came and went. All right, if them niggas wanted to know something, they would have been and came. All right, and got that info. All right, now, all right, it's agent ass agent moving ass niggas out here now, right? These niggas, they coming to you to get some information because they want to turn you in. All right, you got to look at everybody, all right, in that scope and in that lens, all right, because here it is, we at the end of the movie, and the scripture do speak about 11th hour Israelites. It is going to be Israelites that come in at that last hour, all right, we understand that, but, you know, have some discernment with when you dealing with these people, because, nigga, it ain't no way I done been around you for 5, 6, 7 years telling you, and you know what I do, and you know what I'm about and what I talk about, and then here it is in the last, you know what I'm saying, few minutes you want to come inquire, nigga. You that should make you raise your eyebrows. Let's put it like that, all right? It should make you raise your eyebrows and look at them niggas funny. You're like, nigga, you was bullshitting out here, nigga. And the only reason you coming to me now is for one or two reasons. Either you scared, nigga. You know what I'm saying? The Lord got you scared and he's finna put you in your right mind, or you coming to catch me up. All right, it's no other way. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm gonna read this again. Psalm 69 and 22. It say, let their table become a snare before them, and that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap. Verse 23, let their eyes be darkened that they see not, and make their loins continual to shake. All right, you know what I'm saying? Jake gonna be out here holding his nuts like a little bitch in that day, all right? He ain't gonna know what to do, all right? The scriptures tell us the men of Babylon became as women. They were foreborn to fight. All right, everybody tough and on that rah-rah shit now, but we gonna see. All right, you niggas getting drafted soon. All right, all these things are coming. All right, but the Lord said, let these niggas' eyes be darkened. All right, let the 2/3 eyes be darkened that they may not see. All right. Verse 24, pour out thine indignation upon them. All right, the Lord's righteous anger and fury. All right, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them. All right, and it's a fearful thing to fall into the hand of the living power. All right, you know what I'm saying? What the Lord say, kiss the Son lest he be angry and tear you to pieces. All right, we know the scriptures talk about how the Lord is terrible. All right, and is a great king of the earth. You know what I'm saying? You don't wanna fall into the hands of no power like that. But hey, you know, 2/3 are definitely gonna experience that. Verse 25, let their habitation be desolate and let none dwell in their tents. All right, because you know, as the scriptures, what's that in Isaiah 1, it say from the sole of the foot even to the top of the head. All right, there's no soundness in it. All right, you know, these niggas is just, all right, they wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. All right, you know, brain operates fully functionally. All right, to do wickedness, but to do anything righteousness for the Lord, all right, these niggas can't do it. All right, just can't do it. Okay. So yeah, let me go to something else right quick. And I'm just putting this up raw, you know what I'm saying? Y'all flowing in the spirit. All right, I had some time to myself. And Shabbat Shalom as well. All right, the Shabbat just came in. All right, let me see. Is this the one? Let me see. All right, this Psalms 10. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna read this too. Psalms chapter 10, I start at verse 15. It say, break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness till thou find none. All right, and that's what the Lord is coming to do. He's coming to break the arm of the wicked, the Edomites. All right, take them out of rulership. All right, and put them into slavery. All right, they're never gonna rule again. Verse 16, it say, the Lord is king forever and ever. The heathen are perished out of his land. All right, you know, Amalek is over there in our land right now. Them sand niggas. All right, Ishmael over there in our land right now. All right, and they're fighting. And the Lord is getting ready to move them out of their land. All right, you know, that's Israel's land. And it's going to be burned up just like America, but it's going to be rebuilt. All right, by you heathens. That's going to be part of your punishment. All right, part of your judgment, part of your sentencing. All right, when we get all you heathens in slavery, let's say it that way, because every nation under the sun is going into captivity under Jacob. All right, for 1,000 years. All right, that's how it's going down. All right, and when that 1,000 years is up, all these nations are going to become tributaries to Israel. They're going to practice what was taught and what was beat into them, literally, because we're going to beat these laws, statutes, and commandments into you. All right, with a what's that, a rod of iron. We're going to beat these laws, statutes, and into you devils, all right? And you're going to get to go back to your lands and practice what was beat into you. But Esau doesn't get that, all right? That dude, that nation gets obliterated forever, all right? All of them, all right? Esau gets brought down to the pit, as it tells you in Obadiah 1:18, all right? But yeah, the Lord is going to burn all them heathens up out of our land, all right? Ishmael, Amalek, you know what I'm saying? The chief house of the wicked, all right? Both of them getting burnt up out of our land, all right? And whoever else dwelling over there that don't belong over there, you getting burnt out of there too. All right, so these niggas is really fighting a pointless war. You know what I'm saying? You're fighting this war. It's not a pointless war because, you know, this is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's movie, and he wants this war to be fought. But from the aspect of you nations thinking that you're going to rule after a said war, that's the pointless part of it because it's not happening, Captain. You know what I'm saying? It ain't happening like that. All right, Psalms 10:17, it say, Lord, thou hast heard the desire of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou will cause thine ear to hear. All right, and our ears are hearing this beautiful wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You know what I'm saying? When we heard this message, it resonated with us, all right? You know, we got down with it immediately, you know. Fear was a part of it. I know it was for me. All right, fear was the first, it was happiness at first, you know, but then when you start learning the characteristics of the Lord, you know, then fear came upon me, so it's a double-edged sword, as the truth says. All right, the words of the Lord are a two-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Psalms 10:18, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may oppress no more. All right, Esau is not going to be oppressing anymore. All right, this nigga's going into slavery. All right, this is the end of his kingdom. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. All right, for Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. All right, so yeah, it's a beautiful time to be alive, all right, to see, all right, these things, all right, getting ready to take place. I'm gonna read this right quick in Amos chapter 9. All right, we start at verse 8. It says, behold, the eyes of the Lord power are upon the sinful kingdom. All right, at that time it was Israel. This time right now, all right, the sinful kingdom is America. Okay, it's saying, I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord. All right, because again, the 2/3 over here, and they got to be destroyed. The house of Saul going to be destroyed over here, but the one David, it's like the one David, the 1/3 house of David is going to be, all right, beamed up from here, all right, up into a chariot, all right, a fathership when Yahushua returns. All right, they're going to shed these bodies on the way up, all right, go into the ship, all right, into their new bodies, and watch the destruction of Babylon the Great, which is America, as well as the land of Israel. Verse 9, Amos 9:9, it say, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All right, again, it goes back to us being scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. You got Israelites amongst all the nations looking like the nations. All right, but you got elect Israelites amongst them. All right, and then you got other nations amongst us looking like us, and they're really heathens. You know what I'm saying? And the angels are the reapers. They know all of this. You know what I'm saying? Verse 10, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. All right? 2 out of 3 of our people over here in America, again, are going to die by that sword. All right? Esau is the sword. The gun is the sword. But ultimately, it's that ICBM nuclear missile that's going to rain down from heaven, all right, onto America. All right? Babylon the Great, Basra, Idumea, you know what I'm saying, turn it into a lake of fire. All right. Phone ding on that one a couple times, you know what I'm saying, as Apostle Gabar, all right, always says, this Amos 9:11, it say, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. All right, and the Lord is raising up the house of David, all right, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. All right, and this is a spiritual temple being built, all right? you know. Started with you know, Abba Bibbins, you know, then we got King Mashar, you know, and then the men that were with him. So like y'all, I can't name them off the top of my head just like that. All right, then up until now where we got you know, head Apostle Tahar, all right, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakai, Apostle Ramlam, all right, you know, our elder bishops, all right, then our elders, you know. Then you got the brothers, all right, under the elders, you know, this the house of David, all right, being built right under this devil's nose, all right, and there's nothing he could do about it, all right. These devils think it's going to be a physical temple built. No, all right, that's not happening. You know, the spiritual temple is being built, all right. Verse 12, Amos 9 and 12, it say that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all of the heathen which are called by my name, said the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that doeth this. All right, so when you possess something, you own it. All right, and we're going to possess Esau. All right, everything that Esau possessed, we're going to possess. We're going to take it from him. All right, he ain't going to hand it to us. We're going to take it from him. All right, going to snatch that shit from him. All right, Yamin. Now we're going to snatch that shit from him. All right, you know, all these other heathens, we going to, hey, everybody's coming to Jacob's world, all right? Jacob's world, where Jacob is the boss and Jacob is the ruler. And all you nations got a place in that world, all right? Never ending employment, all right? You know what I'm saying? Free ass whoopings, you know what I'm saying? For when you fuck up, all right? All of that, you know, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be at your beckoning calls, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to be more than, you know, fruitful in giving it to you, all right? You know, we're going to pay you devils back the same way, you know what I'm saying? You paid us back, all right? We're going to put that interest on that thing, but we're going to do it in righteousness, all right? You ain't got to worry about, all right, no fruity shit, all right, no homo shit happening, all right? That be right up you fucking heathens' alley. You love for some shit like that to happen to you, but nah, nigga, all right, your freaky days end on this side, you know what I'm saying? Your homo love and all that bestiality shit that you heathens get into, that shit ends in this world. All right, you try that shit in the world to come, you getting your fucking head cut off. All right, before your whole nation. All right, we're gonna make examples out of y'all. All right, the same way y'all made examples out of us, we're gonna make examples out of y'all. All right, this honor have ye the Lord's saints. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it for it. I could go a little bit longer, but it's getting dark, and I think I'm finna have to go pick Eve up right quick. So, you know what I'm saying? Lord willing, this was edifying, flow together, and made sense. All right, it'll be up on the page tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I'm under suspension right now. Come off tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? Lord willing. You know, I stay off, you know. It was my fault for being on anyway, doing too goddamn much. But anyway, it'll be up on the top page tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Abaratazai. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All honor, glory, and praise go to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the apostles, the elder bishops, and the elders of the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the house of David, Kwam Yasharala, and the Bible Ball. Shalom, Akim.